Hey, what's up, everybody? Ned Bellavance, Ned1313 on Twitter, and welcome to today's daily check-in. It is May 8th, 2020. It's a Friday. Thank goodness we made it. You made it through the week. Pat yourself on the back. If you're eating lunch, continue to eat lunch and enjoy it. If it's happy hour, wherever you are, enjoy that happy hour. If you're not one to imbibe, then have a fruity drink of some kind. I don't know. You do you. You do you. I'm going to do me. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk to you about something that I feel passionate about. It's all about building a network. No, not that kind. And something happened with my graphics, so I'm going to have to fix that at some point. That's fun. Uh, I guess I just wrote too much. It got too big for the logo. And that's how excited I am about the topic. We do what we can. Um, Before I jump into the topic for today, a few housekeeping items. The first thing is that don't forget about Terraform Tuesdays. That's right. Every Tuesday for my daily check-in, I'm going to be talking about Terraform, something specific within Terraform. This week's was all about locals and variables. Next week, I'm undecided. I'm thinking about talking about providers because that's something, or not providers, provisioners, because that's something that I get a lot of questions about, like when should I use provisioners and why would I use them and how do they work? That could be a good topic. But if you have something better or more suggestions, I'm going to be doing this every week. Let me know. I'm happy to do it. Second thing is please subscribe. The link should be down there. Please subscribe to the channel. Getting close to 50. If I get over 100 subscribers, that means I get my own fancy custom URL on YouTube, and that'd be kind of awesome. It'd certainly make typing out the link a lot easier than whatever nonsense it is now. So those are my two things. Before we dive into the topic, let's check in. How's it going? How are things in your neck of the woods? Yesterday was great. Yesterday was a good day. It was sunny. The kids did their schoolwork. They didn't complain. Things were getting done. Today it is raining. And actually, none of the kids are being good. So it's really just the rain that kind of like bogs me down a little bit. But, try and stay positive. And hopefully you are too. About to go into a bit of a cold spell, which is very weird for May. But it's been a weird kind of year. And apparently there's murder hornets now too. So yeah, all right. We'll just keep rolling with the punches. What I want to talk about today is building a network. And when I'm talking about networks, I'm not talking about networks with switches and routers and all that jazz. I'm talking about people, a network of people. And you've probably heard this before. It's like one of the top career advice things. And it's one of those things that like seems very esoteric and disconnected from reality when you hear it. You have to build a network in the same way that you join a community and other random career advice tidbits that like the actual implementation of it. How do you do that? How do you build your network in a way that's not scary? Like you could just go on LinkedIn and start trying to connect with every single person on there, and you could have thousands of connections. Are those people really part of your network, or are they just people you're connected to on LinkedIn? And don't get me wrong, I get LinkedIn requests all the time, and I accept them in general because, sure, I don't see any reason not to. But that doesn't mean that they're really part of my core network. I think if you think about like networking in a technical sense, you've got like your core routers and your core network, and then you've got sort of your access network, and it just sort of fans out from there. So that's one way to think of it is those people that connect with me on LinkedIn, unless they actually make a connection with me prior to that, they're going to stay just kind of like that ancillary connection way off in the distance. I think what's more important is building up a core network of highly connected people that can all help support each other, especially in difficult times. So, how do you generally get a job is one way that people talk about the network. A lot of people get their next job through their network of contacts. It's not from blindly applying to jobs that are posted online. It's not through submitting your resumes to a whole bunch of companies. Generally speaking, a lot of the people, especially as you go higher up in your career advancement, a lot of people get their next job through the grapevine, through the network of people they know. How do you hear about new stuff? Now, you might get some of that from your tech news, but how do you filter through what's actually important and good to know versus the stuff that's just marketing fluff or, going to disappear in 2 weeks. Usually your network are the people who are also talking about the things that are actually going to matter. So there's that effect as well. How do you reach out for help? If you're stuck on a problem or you're finding yourself in difficult circumstances, your network is there to support you through that. Now, like I said, network sounds a little esoteric, and it's technically accurate to refer to because you could think of each person as a node in the network, and then we're connected by lines, and that forms a network in a mathematical sense. But that's not really a good way to model it. I mean, that's what Facebook does, and well, that's probably a tirade for another time. But like baking it down to mathematical principles isn't really going to help you in your career advancement and just general quality of life. Building a network of people is basically getting to know people. You're making friends. And that's probably the best way to think of it. You I wrote a blog post recently that was mostly about my first year freelancing. And, I'll put a link in the show notes about that. But there's a quote in there that I want to read, and you'll forgive me for quoting myself. Networking is talking to people you know and the people they know, not selling, pandering, panhandling, evangelizing, proselytizing, pretending, faking, insinuating, genuflecting, or self-aggrandizing. It's just talking to people and not being an asshole. That's pretty much it. And you'll pardon my language. I don't curse much, but like that's the core of it. Like getting to know people and not being a jerk. That's all you need to do. If people have a pleasant experience with you, they're going to be more likely to want to interact with you again. And if the next time they interact with you, it's yet another pleasant experience, then when they're searching their mental Rolodex for people to talk to or to reach out to, you're going to go towards the top because you are a pleasant person to interact with. And hopefully you're providing some value. So I guess the second side of this is people in your network should know what you're good at. And you can do that without selling. Like you don't have to sell and be always bragging about yourself and how awesome you are and stuff. Like that's probably a turnoff. People don't want to hear that. But just by doing what you do and being public about it, you can build a reputation for being good at stuff without bragging about it. And when someone is going through that mental Rolodex of people they know for a particular skill set, you're going to pop up because this person knows that you're good at this thing. For instance, I've done a lot of work with Terraform, and I haven't been getting up on a pedestal going, I'm awesome at Terraform, you should talk to me. It's more just like I put stuff out there. I create some courses, I write some books. Like people just kind of know that's something I'm into. And if they have questions, people hit me up on Twitter, they hit me up on LinkedIn all the time with just like these random questions about Terraform, and I'm happy to answer them. And I think if you just let people know that you're good at something in a way that is not being braggadocious about it, then they're going to be more likely to include you in their next survey of people when they need something. The other part of that is to be helpful to others who are in your personal network. And that is just if someone seems like they're struggling, if they seem like they need some help, or if you just notice they're working on something and you have some advice to give. I mean, unasked for advice is not always great, but there's a way of going about it that is nice and welcome versus shoving your advice down someone's throat. So if you see someone's working on Jenkins, let's say, and you've worked a ton on Jenkins, you can just say, hey, want to know, I've worked a lot on Jenkins. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Here's one or two things that I've tripped up on in the past. That's a way of being really nice without being forceful about your advice. And then that person might come back and ask additional questions. It also lets them know that you're good at a thing. So if they happen to have a freelancing gig that they come across that's Jenkins specific, and they may not know it really well, they might think of you and go, oh, well, you know what? This person knows a lot about Jenkins. I'm going to see if they're looking for a freelance gig. And just doing those things is going to help you advance in your career and also just kind of be more satisfied in life because you are, after all, making friends. Yes, you're building a network, but what you're really doing is building up a friend group and a support group So when you fall on difficult times or you want to just have a conversation because you're stuck in isolation and there's no one else around you, you have a network. You have a network to fall back on. It's a security net. Yeah, network. See what I did there? Pretty good, pretty good. So that would be my like yesterday. I think I talked about doing the thing, and that's still important. Still a great point. The other half of that is building a network. So do the thing, build a network. It's two things. They both sound esoteric, but if you listen to yesterday's daily check-in and you include today's daily check-in, I think it'll become much clearer that it's not that esoteric and it's actually not that hard to do the thing and build a network. And with those two together, I think the sky's the limit when it comes to your personal career advancement. So that's all I got for today. I will be back on Monday with another daily check-in. No idea what I'm going to talk about, but if you have suggestions, dear viewer, for things that I could talk about on the daily check-in, questions you have, topics you want me to kind of explore in this quick 10-minute format, pitch them out to me. I would love to hear them. You can hit me up. It's Ned1313 on Twitter or find me on LinkedIn, whatever makes sense for you, or, comment in this video. Until Monday, stay healthy, stay safe, and have a great weekend. Bye now.